G'day folks, last week I walked through the bush behind me here into the little creek and I caught a heap of mountain galaxias, a couple of freshwater blackfish and a couple of rainbow trout. A number of people suggested that I try fly fishing in there because they want to see if we can catch galaxias on the fly. Well, today I bought my fly rod. I'm going fly fishing for this tiny weeny little native fish that is the mountain galaxias. Hey you! You're watching Robbie Fishing. Now, I don't know what I'm doing here today. This is new to me, so I'm going to use the same old system that I use for trout fishing. I've got a little black bead-headed nymph on the bottom and a royal stimulator about 30 centimetres up the line. Now, I'll see how that goes. I don't know much about the mountain galaxias diet or what they eat, so I'll just start with this and see how it goes. And I'm going to put a queel, which is floatant, on my fly. And that will just help keep it floating. I'll put it on the fly and I'll put it on the line near the fly. That's just to keep the stimulator up on the surface a lot better and prevent the bead-headed nymph from pulling it underwater. Right, let's bash our way in. I'm about 70 or 80 metres upstream from where I got in last week. Now, I don't know whether these galaxias take nymphs or dry flies or what they take, so I figure I'll just try both. A bit of room there. Got him! Look at that! I'll be buggered. About my third cast. I saw the stimulator went under and I knew that the nymph wasn't down far enough to be snagged on the bottom, so I struck and I caught a mountain galaxia. Fly fishing. Fly fishing for mountain galaxias. That's something new for me. Just like fly fishing. Well, it looks like they'll take the nymph. I've just proved that. Just like fly fishing for trout. The stimulator was on top. The moment it went down, I struck and there was a fish on the end. Well, folks, I've actually caught native mountain galaxias on a fly before, but not properly fly fishing like this. I pulled over at a culvert and just sort of dangled it off the bridge. This is the first time I've actually made my way upstream casting to them. Gone under. Oh, that hit the dry. Something hit the dry then. I'm watching the nymph float, the stimulator, it's floating, it's floating, it's floating. I'm waiting to see it go under. It's not going under. Something just hit the stimulator. They're going to hit, oops, they're going to hit both by the looks of it. Not up there, they're not there. Nothing's going to hit it up there. This is where I had most of the action the other day. I can already see fish swimming around down there. Something rings on the water up there, something rising in this pool. Oh, something hit the dry fly then. Something hit the stimulator. It's very small. I actually saw him. It's a tiny, weeny little galaxia. Well, so far I've had one take on the nymph, which I hooked, and a couple of takes on the dry, which I missed. And I don't expect I'll catch any on the dry. I think I need a fly about a quarter of the size of that. Anyway, it's proving to be much harder to catch galaxias with a fly than it is with worms. But every bit as much fun. Bastard. I lost all my flies there too. Please tell me I didn't just lose my flies. Right folks, I've lost my flies to an overhanging tree. I've got bugger all leader left and I'm going down to this little, I don't know what it is. It's a little bead-headed nymph of some kind, green with a bit of a forked tail. So I've got no dry, just the nymph only. There are quite a few in this little spot just here last week. There's a little weeny one hitting it, it's tiny. He won't be able to put that in his mouth. He's on it. He hit it. It was big enough to catch. Similar to the one that I caught before, but he didn't grab it properly. He's on it, he's near it. He's on it. Oh, that was a better strike. I missed him. They're biting it, but they must know that it's not real. This is so much harder than what it is with worms. With worms, they grab it and leave it in their mouth. With this, they grab it, then they just spit it out. Well, folks, I've walked all the way back up to the car, and I've only caught the one, and I got it on about the second or third cast. Had a couple of other strikes, and that was it. I've only got a couple of nice holes left, and that's as far as I can go upstream. So I've ducked over to the car. I've grabbed my spinning rod and a worm. Catching galaxias on a fly has turned out to be a much harder challenge than I expected. This is the hole that I got that big blackfish in last week. There's no way it was the only blackfish in the creek. Not a chance. Got him. What have I got? I've got galaxia. Ah, blackfish. There we go. It's the same hole that I caught that big blackfish in last week, but it isn't that big blackfish. It's a smaller one. Very, very dark two-spined blackfish. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. I want to take you a photograph, but they're very hard things to photograph because they just... I think they're a bit like eels that flop around and flex their muscles. Maybe I won't photograph you, mate. Maybe I'll just unhook you and put you back. There we go. Little two-spined freshwater blackfish of around about 20 centimetres long. See you later, mate. You watch him just vanish. Gone. Don't know where he went. Probably under one of these rocks here. Now, I've been seeing a few fish swim around my worm in this hole. I reckon I might have saw a couple of trout, and I know for a fact I saw a little galaxia. But then when I hooked the fish, it was the blackfish, and it was from the same part of the hole that I caught that larger one last week as well. But that was quite a bit bigger than this one. Something's pecking at that now. I think it's a galaxia. I can see rings on the water here, which indicates that there's something in there. Most likely a galaxia. Something just tapped me worms there now. It's a galaxia. Galaxias. It's playing with it. Missed him. Oh no, I didn't miss him. Look at the size of him.
Oh no, I didn't miss him.
That's the smallest fish I've ever caught, although he got off. Oh, something's got it. Got him. Is that a galaxia or a trout? It's a trout. Look at the size of that pretty little rainbow trout. I've got to get a photo of that. Gee, that's a beautiful looking fish. Such a beautiful looking fish. Have a look at that beautiful little rainbow trout. Those spots are called par markings. Mate. See you later, mate. Well, I've caught, or almost caught one galaxia that long, one blackfish, and now one trout, and I've caught them all on the one Jan-Juck worm. I just keep threading it back on the hook like that and casting it back out. Very effective way of, or efficient way to use worms. Now, I caught a trout and a galaxia in this pool last week. Something's after me worm, it's on it straight away. Got him. I think it's a galaxia. It is too. Very, very fat galaxia, mountain galaxia. Very fat and healthy. After I finish fishing, I'll explain to you why I think these are in here and why I think they're existing so well with the trout. I've got a bit of an explanation as to why I reckon they're coexisting so well. I'll keep fishing for now, then when I finish I'll explain it to you what I think's going on. Something's tapping it. Missed him. He's on it, he's on it. Oh, there's heaps of them on it. They're just there. Oh, there's 3 of them on it, 4 of them on it. They weren't doing that with the nymph before. They'd have a real fast, lightning fast tap and that'd be it. Look at this, the moment the worms hit the bottom, the galaxias are all over it. There's another one. The moment the worms hit the bottom, the galaxias are just climbing all over it. Come on, mate, calm your farm. Calm your farm. Little mountain galaxia. See you later, mate. So what's that? 5 fish on the one Jan-Juck worm. It's looking a little bit more like a meat patty at the moment, but they're still going. They're still climbing all over it. There's one on it. He's got it. No, it didn't hook up. There's about 5 on it now. Got him. Oh, mate, you landed in the water. That was very smart of you. He got off, but he didn't get far. Come on, mate, if it doesn't... Look at that, he's vanished. Even in this little puddle, he's vanished under all them leaves. There he is. Geez whiz. Slimy much. Threw him out there before he slid through my fingers. What's that, 6 fish on the one worm? Yeah, something's pecking at it. Got him. No, I lost him. I love this. This is so good. That was fish circling underneath it. Didn't actually hit it. There's one on it now. This thing. Here they come. It's like feeding ducks bread at the park. Another galaxia. Yellow, this one. They really are cool looking little fish, aren't they? See, mate. I think I've caught 7 fish on the one worm. It's looking a bit mangled. It's like feeding bread to the ducks or feeding chips to a seagull. As soon as one seagull comes over, they all come and flock to it. It'll sit there for a few seconds, and as soon as one fish notices it, there's about 10 of them on it. Right, folks, I'm starting off with a fresh janjuck worm for this hole. This hole was very good to me last week. I caught a blackfish and a trout. There's a big blackfish. He's got me worm. He's got me worm. Got him. Not as big as he looked. He looked bigger in the water. He looked a lot bigger in the water than what he did when I hooked him. But anyway, folks, look at that. It's another 2-spined blackfish, and there was actually 2. There was 2 of them circling my worms, both about the same size. Look at that, folks. A lovely little 2-spined blackfish. He'd probably be 25 centimetres, I suppose. Beautiful little native fish. See if we can see him swim away. Ooh, he slipped out of my hand. We're not going to get to see anything. Well, folks, I've had an absolute blast up here today. Normally I like to keep my closing scenes to around 20 seconds, but I'm going to blow that way out this time because I want to explain to you why I think there's such a healthy population of galaxias and blackfish in here despite the trout being present. First thing I want to say is that fly fishing for galaxias is much harder than I expected it would be. I expected that I'd be catching galaxias one after the other on the little nymph, and after catching one on the second cast I thought, yep, everything's going to go as planned, and then I didn't catch any more. I had a few hit the nymph and a few hit the dry, and then that was it. It was very, very hard. But anyway, why is there so many native fish despite the trout? It's all to do with habitat. This stream, as you can see down here, is very, very small. Now, at the moment, all of the streams in the region here in northeast Victoria are carrying more water than they usually do in May. There's quite a healthy flow. Now, if that's a healthy flow, what does an unhealthy flow look like? What does it look like on a normal year? It's probably almost dry. I suspect that the habitat here is just marginal for trout, not good enough for the trout to flourish. And it is very, very good for the native blackfish and galaxias. And as a result, nature has run its course, and it's allowing for better conditions for the native fish to flourish. And I reckon that if I was to go upstream where the flow might be a bit better, I might find more trout. Downstream where it's a little bit warmer, more blackfish and more galaxias. Folks, I hope you've learnt something from this video, and I hope you've been entertained. Thank you very much for watching. If you have, why not give it a big fat thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video.